do thus and so. I think we all have kind of done that. But suppose, just suppose for a moment that we could design your present life. Choose circumstances to best suit you. You could choose a life to be very comfortable. And perhaps, well, the ladies want to be physically perfect weight in the figure, gorgeous and beautiful. And I know the guys want to have muscles, tall, strong, and handsome. And of course, an abundance of material wealth. There is a risk, though. You could fall in love with the material, become self-absorbed and narcissistic. You forget yourself with a capital S. That's Christ consciousness. This could be the cost. And this has been demonstrated over and over by those famous and those not so famous who have lost their way because they were attached to materiality. There's nothing wrong with materiality, just don't become attached to it. If each person had the opportunity to design exactly the life which was best for you, who would choose any discomfort? The things that challenge, the things that get your face rubbed in the mud. You wouldn't do it, and really nor should you. You would choose the popsicle moments, the chocolate-flavored life, the jet-setting life, and that would be me. It's true, sometimes it is through very challenging circumstances that we really develop grit, understanding, insight, inner strength, and power. And these seemingly come to us not so much by a flower life. By looking at all of you, and myself included, we all have the appearance of a flower life. But actually, every one of us has had agonizing defeats, glorious victories, valley and mountaintop experiences. Yes, we've all been through the fire. There was a time in my life when I experienced a deep and dark depression. I was young, recently divorced, and had 3 hungry mouths to feed. I had to get counseling. However, that experience propelled me on the inward journey, which, by the way, is greater and shorter than the outward journey. The inward journey lets us begin to see not as a tragedy or crisis, but a prelude to transformation. A crisis or a difficult challenge can be a turning point. And this turning leads to the death of an old way of being and to the birth of a new life. However, our human conditioning may lead us to believe that all is lost. But as Richard Bach writes in his book, Illusions, what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls a butterfly. Getting back to designing our life, we are all travelers on the road of life. Regardless of the circumstances of your life, we are the writer, director, and producer. We will come to see that our circumstances are just a role that we are playing in this life just for a while. But each page can be different. It's a play. We go on stage, so to speak. We choose our character, and make up the dialogue, select the wardrobe, attract and interact with others who choose to be in this play, and we go on stage. On stage seems real, with all the lights, the sounds, the smells, the tastes, the colors, the people. It's easy to get caught up in the drama that we create. We can lose ourselves in this character. Oh, what actors we are with our Academy Award performances. What happens is our ego wants to stay in character, and we easily forget our real self, capital S, Christ consciousness, and our true purpose. Our real purpose is to go on stage and be our real self. In other words, in John 17:16, to be in this life, but not of it. And who is our real self? As I said, the Christ consciousness. We are infinite and eternal beings. We have the wholeness of the Holy Spirit with us. Our purpose is to co-create, not miscreate the attributes of the Holy Spirit while we are on stage, while we are in this lifespan. Our ultimate purpose is to make known the glory of God. In a play, the actors frequently go backstage to change, refresh, renew, and prepare for the next scene. Our true reality is backstage, so to speak. In back of each of us is the true foundation of our being. It behooves us to step away, retreat from all these distractions, and go backstage. Turn inward to our Christ consciousness, where we find something that is immaculate, the original purity. This is where we renew, refresh, refill our consciousness with the love that we had in the beginning. This is where we remember and prepare for the next page of our life. The takeaway is that we realize that God is in control of our star-studded, Emmy-winning Broadway production. In Psalms 32:8, I will instruct and guide you. Therefore, with certainty of this truth, we allow God to be the writer, producer, and director of our life, realizing that we are the canvas of space in which all consciousness expresses itself. We're not to be passive spectators, but active participants on this road of life. This is our playground for now, to enjoy. Once we awaken to this truth, many of us may struggle to stay awake to it, especially with all the distractions, thoughts, and emotions that we have. And right now, the whole world seems to have just turned upside down. How do we stay alive, alert, awake, and enthusiastically center our attention on God? The answer is to focus. There's a story of a man who's taking driving lessons, and he has studied the driving manual, and it's his first time out with the instructor, and his first time on the highway. They get on the highway, it begins to rain. The instructor tells him to turn on the windshield wiper. Well, when he does, he starts driving like this. And he says, I have to stop. And the instructor says, focus, focus. And he says, no, I have to stop. And the instructor keeps yelling, focus, and he's all in other people's lanes and causing havoc on the highway. And he says, oh, I gotta pull over. And the instructor says, focus, focus. At some point, focusing happens. And it doesn't matter which way the wipers are going. He's focused. Have you ever wondered how dancers and skaters spin without getting dizzy? Dancers practice a technique known as spotting, in which they spot an object to focus on. And they look at that object as long as they can as their body is spinning around, and they snap their head around and go right back to that focus point. And by doing this, they do not get dizzy. A professional dancer has to do a minimum of 32 fouettes, those are turns, and they do not get dizzy. They have to use this technique, otherwise they would splatter on the floor. Now skaters have another technique. Have you ever wondered how they spin like a top? You've seen them on television. They actually spin like a top, and they stop on a dime. They're not dizzy. Well, what they do is practice over and over and over. One spin, two spins, three spins. And by doing this is what's amazing. The sensory relay system in their brain changes. It has to do with something to do with the inner ear and eye coordination. But this continuous practice actually causes the brain to create a new path, which changes how the brain handles information. The skater does not get dizzy because through this practice there's been a shift, an actual shift in the brain. And I said, wow, let's translate that to our spiritual practice. This is another illustration of absolute proof that we can change our brain. It's possible. All we need to do is focus on the results we want through the practice of the awareness of the presence of God in our lives. The practice is like a subliminal mantra. In other words, it's 24/7. It's 24/7 awareness that God is right now, right here in my life. And keeping with this metaphor, when we practice this mantra with intention, the brain itself will create a new path. We become steady and centered, regardless of what is happening in and around us. The brain has changed. It's impossible for the mind to go anywhere. You are steady and centered. You get a negative health report. You are steady and centered. The unfocused mind. You get a positive health report. The cancer is gone. You are steady and centered. The untrained mind. You experience the loss of a loved one. You are steady and centered. You just lost your job. Your income has been reduced. You just won the lotto. You are steady and centered. And the unfocused mind does this. And when the focused mind does this. You are a danger to yourself and to others, because I guarantee 100% of the time you will say and do the wrong things. I think you get the picture. The skater wants to not get dizzy. What is it that you really want? It's possible. Since none of us gets a free pass in life, I tell you, life will put you in a spin. But your friends and even you will be amazed when life puts you in this spin, which it will from time to time, and you will stop on a dime, bam, and your friends will be amazed and say, I'll have what she had. It doesn't matter what is going on in our lives or world, as long as we are focused on the awareness of the presence of God. We will not lose our way. I'm not asking you to believe this, but if you are really thirsty, it's an invitation to discover this truth, especially for those who hear the call to step up and cultivate a contemplative life. The road we travel on this journey to our true self can be beautiful, unpredictable, and downright dangerous at times. And it seems real, which makes it harder to remember. It's just a dream, an illusion, a role that we are playing, just for a while. As a child, I had great love for the movie Wizard of Oz. What about you? And even more so for the movie The Wiz. You will remember Dorothy was having a dream. However, as we grow in spiritual awareness, you realize that Dorothy's great journey was not just about the yellow brick road, but a journey to her true self. The yellow brick road represented a path where she encountered all different aspects of herself, the disempowered parts of herself. Remember, she encountered the cowardly lion who needed courage in place of fear. The scarecrow needed a brain. He wanted wisdom. And the Tin Man needed a heart. He wanted to feel love. Dorothy thought she needed something outside of herself to help her. And in this case, the powerful Oz. The most powerful moment in the film was when Glinda the Good Witch said what spiritual teachers have been trying to convey for thousands of years. She said, "You don't need my help any longer, my dear. You have always had the power." And as I have quoted many times before, what we are looking for is found where we are looking from. The movie clearly illustrated that you hold the power to discover your purpose and live your greatest truth, not someone else's. This power has eternally been with you, right now and always. The road we take is the road we're on. Step by step, day by day, the plan can walk this path for us. Others can at best serve as guides. Stephen Levine writes, Buddha left a roadmap. Jesus left a roadmap. Krishna left a roadmap. Rand McNally left a roadmap. We used to use that in place of the GPS years ago. But you still have to travel the road yourself. Nobody on this planet walks the exact same path as you. It's your life to enjoy, no one else's. We have many inspired teachers and teachings to guide us, but the map is not the journey, the menu is not the meal, the finger pointing to the moon is not the moon. The destination to Christ consciousness is accessible and doable. Have the courage to step into this destination. You know where you're headed. So yes, follow your yellow brick road. Metaphysically, the color yellow represents light and wisdom, the ability to evaluate, discern, apply what you know. A brick represents a firm foundation. You walk on a firm foundation of truth. Now, there will be times when a person or experience will try to knock you off your path. But remember, you walk on a firm foundation of truth, and you can withstand the storms of life because you are focused on the awareness of the presence of God. In John 14:1 says, do not let your hearts be troubled. Believe in God. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow wrote, the best thing one can do when it is raining is to let it rain. We have the wisdom now to accept the unacceptable. Even if we wish to change things, we can do so from a position of patience and strength. Conditions may not be exactly what we want them to be. They are what they are, just for the moment. We have the wisdom now to walk past the fire that once burned us. Remember when we used to try to escape this to get that, only to find that that was worse? Jump from one frying pan relationship into the fire of another? Swap the devil for the witch or the warlock? Oh my goodness, let feet and ring. I tell you. Walking on your yellow brick road, the foundation of truth, we are reminded that in Romans 8:28, all things work for good for those who love God. Knowing that all things are working together for our highest spiritual evolution allows us to move with things just as they are and cooperate with opportunities as they unfold. It allows for the possibility that you can see things differently. You see, God has a habit. God has a habit of making a way out of no way. I call this compassion in action. Compassion is a beautiful thing. If you were to look back at your lifespan and see how you got from there to here, you see how God's love and compassion has worked in your life. His hand is all over it. Compassion is how the universe gives and shares unfailing, everlasting love to all its created. We are travelers. We were born to be travelers. We're not to stand still. We're to keep it moving, ever expanding our consciousness. And as you grow in consciousness, you will feel a quickening of spirit, a shift from person to presence. You will begin to travel light. The stress and struggle begins to ebb. And you know now that worry, anxiety, and fear are emotions that are not going somewhere worth being. Things that used to concern you don't. You don't sweat the small stuff or any stuff. You don't dread the future. You're not the mask you have been presenting to others. You are now appealing to the grace of consciousness. Now you have moved beyond faith to certainty. You know the I am is not your ego. You know the I am is not this body. You know that God is right here, right now in your life. God said his name was I am that I am. We are to find that and be that. You don't need more learning, more books. You already have what you need. You will not be overwhelmed. You will always be in the right place. No need to pursue or search for yourself. Like Glenda the Good Witch said, my dears, you have had the power all along. And I wish each and every one of you many blessings and traveling mercies as you ease on down your own yellow brick road. Amen.
Amen.